I'm about to make some controversial statements about erectile dysfunction, but if you are a guy, please stick around and hear me out, because I don't care how old or young or healthy or strong or weak your erections are, you are not going to want to miss some of this information. It is vital. And if you are a guy who has already struggled with this, then you already know how tough it can be. Whether you've been unable to get an erection or sustain an erection, this is a challenging thing to navigate, and I am here to help. Hi, I'm Caitlin B., sex and relationship coach and expert at men's sexuality. And many of the men that I have coached personally and in my group coaching program have experienced various shades of erectile dysfunction. And so if that includes you, I want you to know that you are not alone. Although the estimates and how scientists measure stuff varies really widely, studies have shown that ED affects from 1/3 to 1/2 of men at one point in their lifetime. So if you're keeping track, that's between a lot of men and most men. And as a sex and relationship coach, I have had the opportunity to walk with and help many dozens of men, hundreds, overcome their erectile dysfunction. But the first thing that you have got to know when it comes to ED, the thing that you have to know about yourself and your own body, is whether or not your erectile dysfunction is real or if it's just in your mind. There's my controversial statement. Hear me out. I've done a job of oversimplifying things so that we can break them apart and really understand what I mean by this statement. When it comes to men who experience ED, they usually fall into one of two categories, usually. The first is men with an actual physiological issue or ailment that is stopping them from obtaining or maintaining an erection. And the second group, well, for them, the inability to get an erection is all in their heads and not so much in their pants. But as you might imagine, when it comes to something like ED, it's a lot more nuanced than just that. So we actually do a great disservice when we say it's just these guys and this guys. In truth, there's actually a third category of men that are concerned about their erectile function. Now, they don't actually have erectile dysfunction, but what they do have is a decline in erections. It's usually around the age of 40, guys start realizing that they're not exactly as hard as they used to be. And these guys feel frustrated. I mean, and obviously reasonably so. Many of them resort to popping little blue pills, or they say absolutely nothing out of sheer embarrassment. Or maybe they just avoid having sex with their partner, or maybe they just pray that the woman that they are having sex with doesn't notice so they don't have to talk about it. And if that's you, I have excellent news, because I've teamed up with a company called The Phoenix. They create a cutting edge at-home erectile dysfunction treatment that is designed for this category of guys and also can be used by the other two categories as well. I'll explain a little bit more for you in just a moment. But before I dive into that, I want to address the imagined ED. So what do I mean that it's all in their heads? What do I mean by that? Lots of men who experience erectile dysfunction assume that there's something wrong with their penis, which sort of makes sense because that's the symptom, right? Like that's the first thing that you notice that lets you know that anything else is wrong. But unfortunately, a lot of men get caught up thinking that their penis is the only thing that needs to be attended to, when actually their bodies and their sexualities are complicated. I mean, your body is a complicated ass ecosystem. And if you are trying to get to the bottom of any sexual performance issue, the solution is not as simple as you might think. It's not as simple as just treating the symptom. So let me give you an example. In young men, especially healthy young men, more often erectile dysfunction is caused by their brains than anything happening under the skin or below the belt. And that can be a total mindfuck, especially if you are in a partnership where you really want to have the amazing sex that you both deserve, but you can't seem to perform. If you are in that category of men and you're experiencing ED and you don't have a physical injury, a physiological concern, a chronic condition, blood flow or cardiovascular challenges, diabetes, etc., then it is super important that you take a step back and look at what could be affecting your life sexually. Sometimes, and maybe even often, it is the sex itself. If you're in a relationship where you and your partner's needs are really different, for example, like you're super kinky and she's super vanilla, or the other way around, or maybe you feel insecure or uncomfortable between the sheets, or maybe, she cheated on you one time and you just really haven't forgiven her for it. The simple truth is that often erectile dysfunction is as easy to identify as that, but that might be the last place that you are willing to look. That's because this look requires a long, hard look in the mirror, asking yourself and being brutally honest with yourself about what's going on in your head. I mean, maybe you're not being true to yourself. Maybe you're not really allowing yourself to explore your sexuality in the ways that you really want. Maybe your relationship is causing you more stress, more sadness, more pain than you're willing to admit. And yeah, it's uncomfortable to sit with these feelings, or else all of us would do it. But if you don't do it and you don't take that deep dive into your head, then those feelings are going to start expressing yourself through your body. Actually, for men with psychological erectile dysfunction, often what they actually need is just to figure out what makes them feel safe, satisfied, and truly authentic inside of the bedroom. Often that comes down to just having some vulnerable conversations about your partner, telling her that actually, like, you're really upset with her that she called you out in front of your friends, and this pattern of behavior really like hurts your feelings, and you just like can't find it in you to make love to her when every time you think about her, you think about how mean she is. Or, you know, you haven't expressed that you have an adult baby fantasy and you just want her to change your diapers, and like nothing will get you off unless that. Like, you know, no tea, no shade. It's no judgment zone. Whatever you want. The tricky thing about this is that every dude's situation is unique. So I can't tell you in this video that you secretly hate your spouse, resent your mom, have grief that you haven't processed from losing your dog, are really just sad about having gotten laid off at work and you feel like you can't perform. I mean, I don't know. I can't tell you in this YouTube video what is preventing you from getting hard. If you come to work with me and my team of coaches, we can help you get to the bottom of that. But you, at the end of the day, are the only person who really knows. One more note, problems in your sex life are not always caused by your sex life. I mean, depression, anxiety, overall life dissatisfaction, the quality of life, all of these things can cause erectile dysfunction. You can be in a great loving relationship with a person who you love and you don't have any resentment built up around and you just really want to have sex with. But if the other areas of your life are causing you so much stress that you actually cannot get it up as a result, then you've got to take a look at those. And it could be stress at work, family issues, or anxiety or depression that's not being worked on or treated with the help of a professional. Like so many things in life, it's all about doing the internal work to get down to the root and treat the cause of the problem instead of just treating the symptom of the problem. And when I said imagined or it's in your head, I'm oversimplifying it to get a reaction from you so that you'll actually stick around and I can teach you something in this video. Because it's never really just that simple, right? Like, I don't mean to suggest that you're just making up your erectile dysfunction. It still exists, right? Like, you're not imagining that your dick's not getting hard. That's not what I mean to say here. What I mean to say is that you actually have a great deal of control and you actually deserve to have the amazing, sexy, spicy, colorful, dreamy, fantastic sex life that you want to have, erections included. All right, now let's move on to the other most common bucket that ED is diagnosed within, and that is physiological issues. Physiological causes for this kind of erectile dysfunction run the gamut from heart disease to cardiovascular issues, obesity, lifestyle causes that prevent adequate blood flow, certain medications, surgeries, injuries, anything that can affect the vascular or neural network associated with your penis and erections. And this is far from an exhaustive list. Again, the same with the psychologically caused ED. The question here for you is to really identify the root cause. So maybe you work a super sedentary job and you've been subsisting off of Cheetos and Diet Coke for the last decade. Well, it may be time for you to reevaluate your lifestyle. Or let's say you have an underlying health or cardiovascular concern that you've been meaning to get checked out. Like, you know, your dad had the thing and his dad before him, and also your mom's dad, and also my heart doesn't feel. Go, please, to your health care provider and get checked out. Figure out what is going on internally beneath the surface, the stuff that you can't see. Because many men actually choose not to go get checked out until something so drastic happens that it forces them to, like that they can't get erections or they can't get the kind of erections that they used to get. Another thing to keep in mind is that over time, most men experience a plaque buildup in the blood vessels of their penis. And this happens even to healthy men, even super well hydrated men, even men who work out and hit the gym. Plaque builds up, and as it does, it clogs up the vessels inside of your penis like hair in a shower drain. And yeah, you better believe that it makes it harder for your body to get the blood pumping. So if you are someone that falls into the third category, it's not exactly psychological ED, it's not exactly physiological ED, it's just like a general loss of hardness, a general desire that your penis could be stronger, more filled with blood, healthier the way that you experienced it earlier on in life, listen up, because the Phoenix may just be the exact thing that you are looking for. You see, the folks at the Phoenix have taken technology that was previously only available in doctors' offices and made it available for you at home. This easy-to-use device clears plaque from your blood vessels, and then, and this is the cool part, it actually encourages new, healthier blood vessels to form. I think it's really cool. It's pretty groundbreaking stuff. There's a link to their website in the description of this video. And yes, I will receive a commission if you buy through my link. So if you decide to check out the Phoenix for yourself, I've had several of my private clients and men in all my courses have tried it and tell me that they are extremely pleased with their results. What I like best about it is that it's actually technology that's backed by science. I mean, low intensity shockwave therapy for treatment of ED is backed up by tons of peer-reviewed studies. You can go to Google Scholar and confirm that yourself, but they've actually taken that technology and brought it home so that you can do it in privacy, so that you can do it without having to travel to a clinic or pay a physician to hold your dick and run a machine up and down it, which like you or your partner are very capable of doing in your own house. Saves you a ton of time, money, and it actually does what it says it is going to do. So if you want to check them out, please go down to the link in the description below. And yes, I will receive a small commission if you buy the Phoenix. And I'm comfortable recommending this to you because several of my private clients and the men in my group coaching program have used it and have been very pleased with their results. If you are a generally pretty healthy man who wants a stronger penis, whether that's because you want to prevent future erectile dysfunction issues, or you just are noticing a decrease in performance and you're a self-optimization junkie, go ahead and check them out. And if you find yourself in one of the other two categories and you have physiological erectile dysfunction or psychological erectile dysfunction, make sure that you are doing the difficult work, behavior change, working with healthcare providers, working with therapists, looking at yourself in the mirror, doing that reflective work. It is work, but it is so worth it. And I promise you that if you are willing to engage in that work, you will see a difference, not just in your erections, but your entire experience of having a penis, of having a sexuality, of having an experience of pleasure and orgasms and satisfaction and joy and bliss and partnership. You are so worth it. Please do not despair. We're all human, including me, and our sexual functioning is complicated. It is layered, it is meshed. But that's the cool thing about it, is that it's really interesting, it's really rewarding, and I trust that you are more than capable of looking out for yourself and improving your erections. I'm Caitlin B. Make sure to subscribe before you go. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you here next week.